Good morning, Vietnam. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of It's Only Monday podcast. It's a podcast pillow peppy and stuff. This is a podcast make a Monday feel like a Friday. This is the podcast to get your Mondays going. And you might be saying, yo, where you at right now, bro? Like, this does not look like the place you're usually shooting at. And it's not. Something just came in front of the camera, but you know what? We're just gonna keep it rolling because it's too nice to sit there and stop and worry and nitpick about the little things. And maybe that could be a conversation about today, the little things, micro versus the macro. But I don't even want to talk about that. Being in a different location, a different zone, a different area, just a different physical place, allows you to maybe sometimes think outside the box, think a little different, think how you wouldn't normally think, see things a little bit differently, right? And I think that's like the way that majority of us can break through when it comes to certain things, whether it's we have ideas and we're stumped on ideas and we can't figure out, okay, what's the next step? What do I do on the next step of this idea? How do I write this book? And how do I finish this last part? How do I finish this last video? How do I finish this script? So many different things, right? I can keep going and the list can keep going, but I'm not going to keep going. I'll let you input what you want to input right there. But whether it's writer's block, whether it's whatever it is, and you just need to kind of be able to see that little difference of an idea, to get your thing going, whatever it may be. You know, there's always that number one trick everyone always says, which is like switch up your physical location, right? And I think that can go deep. That doesn't have to be as deep as having to fly across the world. That doesn't have to be as deep as going to something so totally different than where you're actually at. But it just means to, you know, get outside and just go somewhere where you don't normally go. I heard someone say something the other day that was very interesting, and I agree, which is the place of three, right? We don't have the place of three anymore. And what does that mean? I don't even know if it's called the place of three, but I'm just going to summarize it the way I see it. The rule of three, or the place of three, when it comes to the three places, I think that's what the person said, was the three places that we all used to have was work, home, and a third place, right? Which may be a recreational place like a YMCA. It could be a sports league. It could be a hangout spot. It could be the library. There's so many different places where your third spot could be. And, you know, post 2020, people said that third spot disappeared. Now, what do you mean by the third spot disappeared? Well, clearly everything shut down. So we weren't allowed to pretty much be anywhere. Nothing was open. So at the end of the day, you didn't have a third spot. Your third spot was automatically gone. And then work, for a lot of people that were still working during that time, became remote. Companies had to do what they had to do. People had to do what they had to do to get themselves, you know, still working. So everything went online. Everything went remote. People started working from home. So your second and third spot got condensed to just home. That was it, you know. Okay, let's say now fast forward a bit, you know, things are back open and now we're back to work. Some people are back on location. Some people are back in offices, all those things. And whether you're still remote, but the fact is that third place, I feel like for a lot of people hasn't come back. And that's what this person was saying in their post, that the third place hasn't come back. Most of the third places are gone. Most of the third places, people don't congregate there anymore. And I think those third places is what allowed you to kind of get out of your comfort zone, get out of your normal everyday routine, and either meet different people, have conversations with somebody new, see things in a different way, you know, maybe bounce ideas off people. So all that to say, the reason why I'm trying to say is that third place that doesn't exist at the moment for a lot of people, you kind of have to create that third place for yourself, right? Yes, you can make it be something where you go and you travel and go across the world, or it can be something I think as easy as just going to a coffee shop that you normally don't go, or make a different one every single time. It could just be, you know, taking walks certain places. It could be, you know, enjoying and exploring your own area. Like, I'm pretty sure you haven't seen your whole area where you live. So at the end of the day, why not try to find things that's not normally there? Do something outside of your comfort zone. If you don't hike. If you're afraid of hiking, then don't hike. Do something else. But that idea of the third place being missing, I think, is a crucial point to why I think a lot of us at the end of the day sometimes get stumped with ideas, stumped with certain things, or just feel maybe things can be repetitive, right? Because you're going back from home to work. And when I say the third place is gone, well, like, you know, we've seen, you know, many locations that have been, you know, shut down, whether it's event places, whether it's, you know, different small businesses that were up and would allow people to congregate there, all gone, right? So that is what I think that third place part and why it's important makes sense. And then obviously being in a different location than where I'm usually at right now allows you to either, one, rest, right? Maybe sometimes you need rest. That's the thing. You need rest and relaxation. A lot of times we're so much in go, 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 which I understand, man. It's like hustle. You gotta get things going, get things moving. Don't really have time to sit and think and wait. But if you do get that opportunity to take a breather, take a chill, it's a real reset. Because I think the problem is that we're always connected, right? We're always jacked into the matrix, bro. Always. And what do I mean by that? Well, you're always online. You're always scrolling. You're watching this video online. What are you doing with you? No, but like you can watch this. This is fine. This is some help. But we're always locked in, and because of that, we are never disconnected. And I think that is the thing that has been, listen, I grew up from a time where it was being connected. Well, one, not having the internet, not having that, learning to play outside, all that stuff. Then two, it coming in and using it to enhance our current life. Like when I used to use the internet, it was to go online, learn things, meet people, learn new things, and then go utilize that in the real world. Go meet those people in the real world. I have so many friends that I would meet off. Obviously, it's a little dangerous now, but actually, no, I feel like it's changed. It went from being dangerous to not dangerous to dangerous again. So I'm not saying to do this, but I'm just saying in my day when we used it, when it was coming up, especially earlier on like MSN days and stuff like that, you would go talk to your friends and then you would go hang out and play and do a whole bunch of stuff and then come back and talk about it online, right? And then that's one thing I've realized that's not really happening now was there's so many different websites back in the day. Man, I used to go to at least 12 different websites back in the day just to do different things, whether it's playing games, whether it is learning something, whether it is talking to people, whether it is like there's just so many different things. And yes, because of a lot of these social media platforms, which I've been saying for a long time, it's on my Twitter, my my pin tweet, that all these websites want to become WeChat. And I think someone underneath it responded like, what is that? If you don't know, just Google it. If you want to know what WeChat is, it's basically a Chinese app that a lot of times they run their whole life through it, right? Like they pay bills through WeChat, they can talk to people through WeChat. Like it's like everything is done through that. And I think that's what these companies, most of these like Meta, Instagram, Facebook, Google, YouTube, all these places they want to be that thing that does everything for you, right? So if you notice, we have like 3 websites people go to. People go to Instagram, they go to Twitter, some people, not everybody, and then they go to YouTube, and it's like these 3 things you go back and forth and there's like nothing else. People try to build things off and people don't really go there. It's just these like social platforms that constrict you into something. So I'm not trying to just complain about that, but what I'm saying is you can even see how that can be so repetitive. It's not like the internet used to be a place that I knew as like wonder, like holy, you can find so many different things on here. You can spend your time and end up here, there. Now it's really going into rabbit holes only on YouTube or something, right? So that is where I'm saying you need to physically get yourself to a third spot, a third place. And if you don't want to be a consistent third place, just make sure you're consistently just getting out and going to different places, doing different things, and letting go of the phone, letting go of the internet, and just like living. A lot of times I had this conversation was that a lot of people are focusing on living online and letting online dictate their real life. And if you know what I mean by that, you get it. And if you don't, well, what I mean by that is a lot of people are online, living their life totally on social media, doing everything for social media. Like think of that, for example, you're doing it for social media. I want to create something, and I'll go from an art standpoint. You want to create something, but you're creating for it for social media. Exactly. You're not creating just to create it and maybe it's consumed on social media. Maybe it's consumed over here. Maybe it's consumed over there. You're creating to only be, and there's nothing wrong with creating something that's going to be for a certain platform. But the problem is when you're creating it to be solely just for that platform all the time. That's it. I'm building it so people can pull it in from there. And it's just this weird, I don't know what to call it. It's not a conundrum, but it's this weird thing where you're now kind of siloed into this one thing and you're doing it all for this one thing. And then real life almost becomes secondary. I don't know if you guys know the game called Second Life. There was a game back in the day called Second Life where, again, kind of makes sense. It's called Second Life, where you just can like have this character and just live through having this character. And that is kind of what has happened now. But the only thing is, the second life has become real life for a lot of people, and the real life has become online. So that is where I'm saying, if you really want to, especially for artists and stuff, I think you need to go live life and then come in and create. And I'm really focused heavily on that, spending a lot of time just living so I can create from the things I live, not creating to create or creating to just, and then, okay, living after. No. So back to the idea of the third place. Well, the third place, now if you kind of know what I'm explaining about, has been gone. How do we find one? Where are these third places? Do they exist anymore? Well, that's the question, right? A lot of them are gone. A lot of them we have to create. I've said that. I've heard so many people complain about things a lot of times where it's this and that and all that stuff. But it's like, you know what? I can say that, or I can put it on myself and be like, you know what? There is no place for people to go and do X, Y, Z. Well, instead of just complaining about it and saying that sucks or there needs to be one or who's going to do something about it, maybe it's for me to take it on. And only if that's your passion, that's what you want to do. But if that is, then that might be a thing where it's like you need to take that on. So, I've even looked at certain things where I'm like, hey, what do we need? What does this world need? What does the city need? What does the country need? All that stuff. And like, what can I add and how can I create that or help create that or cultivate that? And then be in that place to build that thing, right? It's not going to happen overnight, clearly, but I always believe in the sense of having long-term goals and big goals. Gary Vee always says it all the time, having a goal that's so grandiose that you can almost never make it, because it's the same it's no different than that same analogy. Shoot for the moon. If you fall, you land amongst the stars, right? Well, having a grandiose goal like Gary Vee wants to like own the New York Jets, which I can clearly see him doing that, being a minority owner very, very soon, and eventually maybe a majority owner. But the whole point is like it's a lifelong goal that's going to allow you to see the finish line and look at it, but enjoy along the way. And that's the main thing. The main thing is enjoying it along the way, right? You can always have your head down and doing your thing, and that's great. But, there's got to be times where you got to come up for air and take a deep breath and feel the sun on your face and the feet on your grass the grass on your feet and just, enjoy, right? Because you never know. Chris Rock has that's one line that was really funny, which is life is long, or no, he said life is short. Live it up. You never know where you're going to go. And then he goes, also, life is long. You might not go, so don't go crazy and live it up. So it's a balance. There's a medium balance there, right? But finding that third place, I think for a majority of us, is going to have to be either creating that third place, seeing someone that's building that third place and helping them build that third place, or bring these things back, because, we're losing a lot of different places. Depending on where you live, it might be a little bit different. Different cities are losing community centers, they're losing, small businesses, everything's becoming major corporations and things like that. So, and I really believe it's the small in the community, the small businesses, the different things there that make the culture in certain places. Because you'll see people go and say, oh, the culture's gone from XYZ. I've heard people say that about New York, right? Oh, New York, what happened to the culture in New York? It's all gone. Well, that's what happens when you just like strip it of everything that's there and then just replace it with corporations and just like, and then what do you have, right? So in order for that to happen, we have to have people step up and do that. And I know it's not easy. I'm not saying you can go tomorrow and just open up a community center. But what I'm saying is it has to be a goal or something that you might want to help somebody do. And from there, we can rebuild these third places, right? And as we rebuild these third places, it allows people to have that again. I think it will bring back some normalcy and some, I think the main thing is trying to find a word to explain it, but I don't even think there's a word that explains it. I think it's actually a whole. It's a paragraph. Take everybody out of this silo that is just the same repetitive social media living there and kind of being on autopilot, right? And some people feeling they're not living. I think that's where you need to pull yourself from and first find your third place for yourself. Again, maybe the third place you don't build first. Find it first. Find one that's still available. Find one that's cool. Make one that's cool. A lot of times you don't gotta wait to see something that's cool. Make it cool. Find something that you like. Find something that you find cool, and that's it now. Find friends that are into the same thing. Meet people that are into the same thing, and then you turn it. There might be a library or not even a library, a small bookstore, right? That's Well, actually, this is a good example, 'cause I think there actually is one. There's a small bookstore. I don't know if it's still on the street, but let me make sure this thing's still recording, because that happened to me last time. Re-rolling still. Yeah, there is this. So this is a perfect idea. Someone could take it. I haven't feel no ways. Go ahead if you want to. No copyright on this, but maybe it's something I do. But if you're into books a lot, there's a bookstore on, again, whatever street. There's probably a small one in your area, wherever you're at. And why not, connect with the owner, whoever is at that bookstore, and try to turn it into like back in the day when there was, book clubs and meetups, but maybe make it a little bit different with a little bit of a DJ and music and a cocktail hour and who knows, but turn these spots that are not necessarily, lounge or club spots, and turn it into something, and it's focused, maybe based around books, people that like certain types of books for that week, that month, that weekend, right? Or it just gets people back into reading and allows people to, experience things a little bit different. The whole idea of that is to just take something that's already there, not having to rebuild it, and maybe blow some life back into it, right? Because a lot of these places need life back into it. So the third place, didn't think that was going to be the conversation today, but I think that is. And again, it's not my idea. I saw that online somewhere. And I agreed wholeheartedly with that whole conversation that the third place is something that we lack and that's been missing. And I think a lot of people don't have anymore. Some people are only down to one or two, or like taking something like work and trying to turn work into all three, right? I don't know. You see that with a lot of tech companies. They try to make you have, there, and then you can play and hang there. And then you can also stay there late and have dinner. Like they try to make it this thing where it's not just work, it's work, play, this, that, but I do think you need the separation of things, because there's no way there's nothing in the world that can be one thing for you. Except God, that's the only thing. There's nothing in the world that can be one thing for you. So, you got to make sure you separate these places. So yeah, finding the third place. That's the talk today. Other than that, it's your boy JT out here. Beautiful Barbados. It's nice. It's hot. And finally got an episode done out here. I wanted to always do an episode out here. But again, I think I spent more time enjoying than wanting to pull up the camera and do it, this is fun. This is fine. I don't mind doing this at all. This is not like it's hard to do, but it's just the fact that, a lot of times you just want to enjoy and live and then leave it at that. And also I don't have my tripod with me, so I had to make a makeshift one right now. It's my suitcase and some paper towel, and then obviously the focal length I was going to change. You guys know. I mean, some of you know. Some of you don't care. You just want to hear the actual content. Some of you might be like asking me about the actual video stuff about it. But yeah, man, that's it. Anyways, guys, thank God for another day. It's a beautiful day. Make sure you go touch grass. Make sure you go get some fresh air. And make sure you go look for a third place, because listen, man, we need those. Some people should have a fourth, fifth, sixth place, man. What's wrong with that? Anyways, it's your boy JT. It's Only Monday Podcast. I want to thank you for tuning in and coming in and sitting with me. You could be doing anything right now. You could be anywhere in the world, and you are, because the power of the internet makes that possible. But you could be, with the kids. You could be, going to the gym, going to work, on the subway, on the bus, whatever it is. Just want to say thank you for tuning in. It is hot. So I'm losing steam. I'll catch you guys in the next episode. Peace.